chow down chow or random gaming, depending on what you're
Like
watching.
how like when did you get to America, and what were the circumstances?
So I got here when I was 5. I'd done
Gotcha.
like 2 years of school there. So when I got here, I was supposed to start kindergarten,
Mm,
but they wouldn't let me start because
yeah.
like not because I wasn't smart enough. It's like we were reading at a third grade level just because like
Mm,
schooling is more advanced there than it is
for sure.
here.
Yeah.
But like apparently my social skills were like not up to par. Yeah. So like that was
Yeah.
the issue.
Okay.
So then my parents had to like keep me back for a year and like wait for me to like learn English and like how to interact with other students and like all of that
Yes.
stuff.
Yes.
Um, so we did that, and then I think like because I was like 5 and very young, I like don't have an accent because I learned English here.
Yeah.
Like my brother was like very young too, so like it's like I grew up here. It's not a big
Gotcha.
deal.
Gotcha.
I think like the only difference is like family wise is like my
Mm,
parents are a lot more traditional and like I remember like when we were kids like we essentially like all learned like my parents knew English, like working English and like I was learning English, but like if sometimes I would get like a form home from school, like if there was like a word that like we didn't know, like we would all like sit down and like look it up in the dictionary. So it was like I like kind of grew up a little bit more like taking on like responsibilities for like helping my parents like learn English or like if they didn't understand like a social custom or
gotcha.
like whatever it is. I think that was like the only difference that like that I really see even now. But like everything else is the same. Like I grew up
Okay.
here. Like you probably know how easy it is to like assimilate. Um,
Did you just ask me
but
how easy it was to assimilate?
yeah, like it's pretty easy to assimilate, right?
I didn't think it was that easy. I had a tough
Really?
time like freshman year because I came like
Oh,
I've never had a class taught in like full English. I've never had to write like papers, so that was the hard part. Like, um, I don't know, like, writing papers, reading
so
was
like
very difficult. Like it was, yeah. Go ahead.
so you also came here at like an older age than like I did, right? So like
That is true.
all I've all I've ever known is like basically America.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like the older you get, the harder it is. But like
I'm sure.
personally, it was easy. But like I think family is like it's still like it's like I'm not 100% like here,
Yeah,
and I'm like not 100% there.
yeah. But
So
I
it's
feel like
just like
that's a good balance, right? You still want some of your like
yeah,
traditional roots, sort of somewhere in the family,
yeah.
right? I
Oh
don't know.
yeah, 100%. It's like balancing like the two is just sometimes it becomes like a struggle. But it's like I think I had it easier than like most people did. So not even. Sorry.
Okay, okay. Well, like you when did you learn English like back in India before you came here, or was that not really?
So like I went to like a private school because like
Yeah.
my parents knew that like we were gonna come here. So I definitely had like taken English classes, but like at the age of 5, like you really don't like know English. So
Mm,
like the English I learned was like the English I learned when I got here. So like
gotcha.
we used to watch a lot of like Disney Channel like kids shows and like our entire family would like watch them and like that's like how we learned like social norms and
Really?
that's our majority of the working knowledge that we had for like I guess like sarcasm or like tones of
Yeah.
voices or like
Yeah.
things like that that you like don't learn on a textbook. Like
Yeah.
we learned through like movies and shows and like
Yeah.
all of that.
Like Sweet Life, Zach and Cody, stuff like that.
I love that show so much.
I used to watch that show a
When
lot.
yeah, I made Arjun watch it for like the very first time, and he was like, I was laughing throughout the entire episode, and he was like not having a bop, and I was like, Esteban is like my favorite
Esteban. I loved
character.
Mr. Is Mosby?
Mr.
Mr.
Yeah,
Mosby.
yeah, Mr. Mosby, and then the
So
Prindle. I used to
yeah.
love that show.
We had like Chinese dubbed version. Like we would have like
Mhm.
all these shows, but they would be dubbed in Chinese. So I used to
Yeah.
watch that show in Chinese. So that was
So
a
fun
yeah. Go ahead.
So I was gonna say, fun fact, like Disney Channel in India, they created like the same shows with like Indian characters and then
Really?
like name. Yeah. So like if you look up like Karan and Kabir, it's like there's a Sweet Life of Karan and Kabir instead of Sweet Life of Zach and Cody.
Wow, that is so
Yeah.
funny. I
And like
loved watching it.
it's for every show. Like you remember like Jesse? Like they have
Jesse,
like a
yeah.
different one. Or like
Like
Good Luck Charlie, they have like
yes.
another one for that.
Really?
Like they have yeah, they have like
Wow.
all these shows. It's
That's so
crazy.
much effort on their part.
It is, but it's like the same script. So like if I'm watching it, like I know
Yes.
exactly what's gonna happen next because it's like the same script just in Hindi.
Oh. But would they have like would they switch out like the settings or like whatever, the food, stuff like that with like Indian stuff?
Yeah, so I think like food, I can't remember an episode where like there was a concentration on food.
Yeah.
Like the cake was still cake when like
Okay.
Cody decided to bake, but like they tried to keep the set as like similar as possible. So like
Oh.
the Tipton looked like very similar to the actual Tipton, and
Mm,
like the uniforms were sort of the same, but
okay.
like and like the sass and sarcasm, like all of that just translated into Hindi.
Yeah,
It's
so that
just
was
really funny.
yeah. So yeah, we don't have that kind of level of effort. We just dub it in Chinese. But yeah, that was a very weird part because like I remember in college, especially freshman year, people would always talk about like, oh, they start talking about some cartoon they all watched, and
Hmm.
I would have watched the same cartoon. I just wouldn't understand what characters they were referring to because I don't know like their English names.
Oh,
Like I used to
oh,
love watching SpongeBob, but I
oh.
didn't know like any of the lines they were talking about because I watched it all in Chinese. Like I still have a full box set at home.
So what's SpongeBob's Chinese name?
It's Hai Mian Bao Bao.
What does that translate
It
to?
means sponge baby.
Oh, what about Patrick?
Uh, Pai Da Xing, which means like pat, like it's a sound like pat the star or
Oh,
something like that. Like it's
oh, wait,
very similar. Yeah,
that's really cool, actually.
yeah, I know. And like we would dub the theme songs as well, so I know how to sing like the theme songs, but just in Chinese. And there would be songs where I don't know the English versions of, like
Okay.
like
Who lives in a pineapple under the sea? Like, what does that
yeah,
translate to?
in Chinese it's 谁住在深海的大风里, which means who lives in a uh big pineapple under the sea. Like it's basically the same thing, but
Wait,
it's just
that's really
translated
cool.
to Chinese. I know. So
Hmm. So was
the,
it the same? Is this just dubbed? So it was like the
yeah,
same screen, just like
exactly.
different voiceovers.
Exactly,
Hmm.
yeah. Same screen, just different voiceovers, and it was really popular when I was a kid. So I would
Hmm.
watch it all the time.
Wait, so now I'm like really curious to like understand how you assimilated in college.
Yeah. What part?
Like, where did you live in the same dorm that they did? Like Rodney and
No,
Evan?
no. But I lived in Unit 3 Norton, um,
Mhm.
which is no, I think they lived in like Unit 2 or something like that. Anyways,
Yeah, they lived in Griffith, I
yeah,
think.
yeah. So I lived in Unit 3 Norton, and I lived in a triple, and I thought I don't know, like the like on the academics front, like it was pretty hard because like the whole English thing. Like any class that didn't involve
Yeah.
as much English was easier for me. So like
Mhm.
I had a tough time in like English
Math.
R1A, R1B because like there's a lot of reading. Like I don't read as fast, and I have to like write papers. I've like never done
Right.
that, so that was hard. Um, and I remember a class that was really giving me trouble was MCB 32. Anyways, it was like
Why did you take MCB? You're a business
yeah,
major,
so
no?
when I was it was for my like bio breath. Like I couldn't find a class that had
Oh.
like an open seat, so I thought it's
Mhm.
like easy or whatever. I thought I had a great like a good GPA average, so I signed up for that class, and it was about physiology. So it's about like very basic stuff. Like it's like
Mhm.
the mitochondria is like the powerhouse of the cell, like
Okay.
stuff like that, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like stuff like that. But I learned biology in Chinese. So I had a lot of trouble with the words, like mitochondria. Like I know exactly what it is,
What it
but at the
is.
same time, I don't know that it means the thing in Chinese. You know what I mean? Like, so I
Yeah.
spend a lot of time like memorizing the words, like the specific words about like parts of your cell, parts of your body, even though I already knew like all the underlying principles.
Yeah.
So
Which
that
that's
was fun.
like really interesting. So
Yeah.
you had to work 10 times harder for like a
I
certain
wouldn't say
thing.
that.
I mean, think about it. Like you really were learning the language as you were learning the subject. Like that's not.
Yeah. Like my English was already like pretty good. I can communicate
Yeah,
no
yeah.
problem. I can read and write, but it's
But
just
like
like
the
stuff like
word,
that.
but
Exactly.
like the working language of English is different
Exactly.
than like the
Like
using language.
there would be stuff that you never thought of, little stuff that you figure out that you're actually not that good at that part. Like
Yeah.
one thing that I still struggled till this day is actually like sounding out numbers. Like I
Mhm.
remember going to like case interviews when I was a freshman, like applying for clubs. There would be like questions about, oh, estimate like how many people is in the U.S. And I would know that number in like Chinese
300.
or
Yeah.
like in number form, but I just didn't know how to say it. Like it takes me time to like translate it to English
Uh,
because the
yeah.
way English does it is like different than the way Chinese does it. Like in terms of
They
how you
like step.
progress through the
Yeah.
like the noun of the numbers. So that takes me time. So sometimes it's like in especially in case interviews, like I can't say it as
Yeah.
fast, and it seems like
Right.
I'm like
Yeah.
I don't know the
Lagging.
number, even though I know the number. I just need time.
Mhm.
Stuff like that.
That's like
You
really
know?
interesting to hear because like
Yeah.
you explaining it to me like makes me think about like certain things that like my parents like sometimes they wait before they say things and like
Mm,
I guess I never really understood the fact that like when they're thinking about it like in India like a lakh and
mm,
then they like move up from there. So like a lakh is a unit of measurement. It's like a
mm.
million or like 1,000, and like that's how they like think about numbers. Meanwhile, like we think about numbers in like thousands and millions and
Millions,
hundreds.
exactly.
Yeah.
Congratulations! You've made it through the video. Now, go subscribe to all the links down below, comment, and hit that like button, and I will see you all in the next one.